Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Kajsa, thank you so much. That was fantastic.
You had a
I'm
wonderful
so glad
time.
you liked it.
Oh, I loved it. It was great fun.
I thought you had some amazingly clever puzzles in here, and they were exactly the right level, I thought, where we tended to, when we were figuring out what they were, we tended not to try the wrong thing so much. When we figured something out, we tended to figure it out right, and that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, they were great. And even ones where we were being dumb and getting it wrong, we were getting it wrong in the right way. We were shouting, use P for B over and over and over and over again.
You know what? Yeah, it was like a cryptic crossword where once we had done it right, we knew we were doing it right, even if it took us some time to get there.
Actually, and I think the best version of that, in terms of like knowing the answer to a thing, was like because every single time we had an answer, we were like, that's it, I know what it is. Even when it was a bit confusing, like for knowing which one the SH was compared to sitting in a hammock versus short hair. But once we solved it, that was like locked in.
Yeah,
but I think the best example was the animals, where when we just went, all right, it's got to be something to do with elephant, leopard, and whale, right? It's got to be something. But we weren't feeling it. Like we were even like, is that going to be right? Like, is it elephant, leopard?
How is this going to give
us
us
soon
an
as we
input
went,
or
wait a
an
minute, what if it's
instruction?
each of the letters? Like GETLOW. Okay, get low. That's it. We've got it.
There were definitely a lot of
really nice.
letter-based puzzles in this one, which meant that as soon as you had started, you could start to get the vibes of if it was happening correctly or not, which is lovely when that happens.
Yeah, I think they were all really, they all once we solved it, it was like, that's it, we've got it, it's locked in, and it felt really nice. And if we'd missed something, it was because we'd missed it. And when we found it, it felt good, not bad.
It was a very rewarding room.
That's good.
The only people that I think it would have been more rewarding for is the people at your old workplace.
Yes,
I
true.
know. I'm going to tell her not to listen in case I do it.
I
Because
hope
Tony
he
is a real
gets her.
person.
Oh yeah, and we hate him, and so you can't let him listen.
He's the loveliest person ever. That's the thing. But he does come in early, even though he's not allowed, and he put the kettle on.
Which is great. That's a nice thing to do.
I know. I just do you want me to start? No, you haven't asked me a question, but I
No,
have all the background.
Go straight. Feel
All
free.
right, so
Don't have to wait
Kajsa-
for a question.
So, Kajsa, tell us everything. Just
Tell us everything about
go.
this room.
tell us how you made this.
Well, I've always been a person who I love puzzles and stuff. So I've done a lot of puzzle hunts.
Nice.
Like 2-hour long ones all over the house for my family and friends and stuff. And I
Aw.
thought, how can I up my game, so to speak? And I found this blog post, and I'm paraphrasing here, but what it said was, "Oh, you're making puzzle hunts like a baby. Why don't you try a real escape room with like a narrative?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that." But I then started doing a kind of a solve this crime type. So
Right.
same. It's also set in the same house, but it's an 8-person narrative, and it's with complicated backstories, and every clue you find is a puzzle.
Amazing.
Nice.
So you have to solve the crime. Because I'm not ready for murder just yet.
yeah. Just a nice,
And then I
relaxing
wrote this at
crime.
the same time because I thought that would be a fun way to scare my friends. And that's when I found your podcast and I binged it. So did you know which ones were inspired by your?
Oh no. Okay.
You're right. I was
I think there's 7 actually. I said 6 in the beginning, but I think it's 7. And it's just a little bit.
It would have to be because, to be honest, no, I was going through this entire thing and all I could, it felt like you. I couldn't feel anything of me in here at all.
It's just the little things like
was-
this. I can't even say this because this is a word I'm struggling with. It's squirrel.
Oh yeah.
The squirrel
that
is
one doesn't
from
surprise
an episode where it's a camp.
Oh yeah.
We
Summer
did have a
escape
squirrel.
room.
You're right.
Nice.
I mean, yep. Love
And
squirrels.
then the whole topic about the demon summoning is from the Children of.
Makes
I'm
sense.
Yep.
pretty
Children of
sure
Osiris.
that
I
was
love
that
it. I
one.
love it.
And also, I don't know if it's the same episode. There was a backwards name where you had to say something.
Oh,
I
that
didn't go
sounds
back to
probably
listen. I'm
right,
sorry.
yeah.
One.
Could also be
I wonder
something
if it's the same
Osiris-y.
room.
If we're going my Cyrusy, my first instinct weirdly would have been the kids' tea party one, but I'm not sure. You're right. It's
Kids'
been
Tea
too long.
Party one is the
Yeah.
colourful animals. So I was like,
Ah.
oh, I want the kids drawing in my one. Because
Nice,
it makes
nice.
sense
Yeah, yeah.
thematically
Absolutely.
anyway. But the animals was one. And obviously the glasses to read the notice from the
Oh, when did we
Antarctic, I
use-
think.
Ah, of course.
Man.
Well, then I'll blame you, Danny, because that's not how glasses work. I'll have you know.
When I
thought
put
it was
your
so
glasses
clever.
on, I can see things I never saw before. And it really goes to show how much this is totally fine. I had no idea as we were doing this. Not even a
I know.
slight
And
clue.
then the voice note on the phone
Oh, of
at
the
nightclub.
I remember the nightclub room. I don't remember any specific puzzles except that I learned what a grasshopper cocktail was.
was it a
It's just a voice
palindrome
note. I thought it was fun.
Might have been.
in the nightclub room?
It might have been, but I don't know. There were definitely like voice memos going on in there. I don't remember what the codes were, anything like that.
It's
But
been so long.
you're right there.
No,
There were
it's just
definitely.
the concept of a voice note. I
things.
thought it was so fun.
Nice.
And the the steam on the window, of course.
Of course. First episode.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, of course.
I'm
first
not going to
episode.
forget that one easily.
Classic steamed up glass. Have you done steamed up glass other than that first episode?
Surely.
Surely you have.
Because I love it as a mechanic. I don't know how many
Yeah.
times I've leaned on it, but
It's great.
I will love it no matter how many times I see it.
Yeah, everyone loves some
I mean,
steaming
it's
up
not
glass.
like you don't own the rights to Squirrel.
No, yeah. You can't
it's,
just be like,
it's just
none
none
of
because
this-
I was listening so intently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
none
yeah.
of
For
this
so
that
many
you
months.
have none of this that you have listed is mine in any way.
No.
These are out there, these are usable, but it's really amazing that you can say, oh yeah, one person can use a puzzle type, someone else can use the same puzzle type, and it doesn't feel like those two people are clashing or overdoing things or it's so obvious thing.
Yeah,
in
or
any way.
stealing. You know.
It's
Let's not call it
impressive.
that.
It's cool.
yeah. No, it's really not. I loved doing the one with the kids. I thought doing the kids, picking the kids, with the short hair and the tree, climbing a tree, was interesting because I'm so glad that I at least started by matching your wording. By the end, I had thrown it out the window. I was like,
Yeah,
some
I
kid-
noticed that while you were
some
writing it. You
kid with a
said it the
saw.
wrong way, and I was like, that's going to be a problem.
But I really quite like that because I love being able to go like that. We first thought it's like from one kid to another kid to another kid, and then went, wait, no, the SH could be two things.
right.
It's actually the description of the first kid, and then the next one was the description.
Meanwhile,
I
you're
really
right. I
liked it.
also started curtailing my descriptions there and just like writing short hair, tree, whatever. And a couple of words in, I went, maybe I should write the whole thing. She's putting a lot of work into saying these precisely. Nah, if it's important, it'll be funnier if I fail.
But we did really well. And again, I think that was a great example of like we had so many things going on, and when we finally found it, it was like, oh yes, like that's it, locked in. We've
You
got
were
that.
really good with the kitchen,
Mm.
the food puzzle.
I was-
no one I played a bit before. They had to have a lot of hints.
Oh,
I
would've-
was so
yeah.
happy that you said, oh, 7. Have we seen 7 of anything? And I went, yes, I paid attention to
Lately,
that.
Danny, in both this room and the last time we did a room with a guest, you have been very good at starting to count things and banking those numbers for later.
It's because I know I accidentally use the same numbers of things multiple times, and I trust everyone else to not be making that mistake.
But the fact that you noticed, like, oh, there's 13 words in the tomato word as well, or like like was written 7 food items, 7 things. That was great. I was not going to make that leap. But then when we did it, it was it was such a nice puzzle to think, like, what could these numbers be referring to? And using the dials and then the letters.
It looked so overwhelming when we first saw it all.
moved, that was really nice.
But-
And was it deliberate? Like, obviously, it seemed obviously deliberate of like that for the bottom left one, it was either butter or something else. So like it could have been 2 or 3 that it was set to. That it was somewhere between the middle.
Because I love bad puns. I had to have that. I could have, because it didn't really work with one word. It had to be the end of one word and the beginning of the other word. But I wouldn't. I wasn't going to change my
reveal. I
pun.
loved it.
Because that's the kind of thing because I've written several more games, and the reason I do it because I obviously love puzzles and I love illustrating this, but I also love really bad jokes and puns.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Try
like the 3
making
things that make
puns,
it fun.
like those food names were fantastic, and making puns that are also so intentional because these letters matter. It's impressive.
yeah,
it's really cool.
and it's really fun. They were great. I really liked that part of it.
I felt very clever about that. I didn't feel clever about the fridge magnets, but I'm glad I got the aha there.
Oh,
funny
of
though.
course.
Oh, it's-
Use can be
Again,
used.
I know I
the
have done
word
that.
it sounds
I know I
like.
will use that many more times
Oh, when you
because
say
it's
you'll
the best.
use that, do you mean you'll multiple people that, or
Yeah.
you'll use that?
I will the letter U several times. That.
Of course.
Do you use as a word in because
We
in Scotland
don't.
we say use as in many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In Australia,
we
use is a-
personally
is a
don't,
common
but
one.
yes, it is
Yeah.
definitely a thing.
So, which was great fun.
I loved.
Which was good because that made you even more confused then.
Yeah.
yes, I
The
love
weirdest
being.
version of that is it's the I don't know where it is in America, but some region of America. I want to say Philadelphia, but that's probably
Very
wrong.
specific.
Uses yins, like
Oh,
Y
you're
I
right.
N
Someone
Z or
specific
something.
does do
Or
that,
yints
don't
or
they?
Yins as their version of use,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
Yeah, those are the sorts of things that are super cool about the different variants of English.
I've only ever seen it
That's
written
great.
when people are comparing how they pluralize you.
I loved having to give the terrible food to the squirrel. No offense to people who eat healthily.
I seriously, I heard cake. I heard it's a piece of old cake, and I was like, "That
Old
is,
cake.
that's wild. That's not healthy food. I don't want to have to break it to Kajsa that that
You know what?
cake's not healthy."
Some cakes can be healthy, and they're the worst kind.
Carrot cake? No, carrot cake is the worst because it's like, is that healthy? It's like, no, it's worse than normal cake. It's 80% sugar, and it tastes like a carrot, and kids don't like it. Like, oh, so it's neither. No, actually, I think nowadays, as an adult, carrot cake's pretty nice. I can have some carrot cake right now.
You feel less guilty.
Everyone's so much.
But I'm saying you
should
probably
have maybe
shouldn't.
said
I
it
think you should
clearer.
feel just as guilty. I don't think there's anything healthy about a carrot cake, but it's pretty nice. But yeah, so that made me just stop writing them all down. That was my flaw for a lot of these, was not listening to the full list. I got excited in the shed when I found the kids' clothing.
You're
and I
very
was like,
excited.
who cares what else is happening? And I needed to care.
I was trying to listen, but it's amazing that just because we knew a table had been moved out of the way, we were so confident that we would have to stand on something to get to that paper. And it's true, even when listening to that stuff, I was going, "Ooh, could we stand in a wheelbarrow?" and all sorts of things. And it did take, 3 list throughs before we went, no, there's a grabbing device.
Yeah.
Grabbing device.
Even when you said litter picker and you were like, oh, litter picker, my brain in my head, when I tried to picture what a litter picker was, I pictured when kids in a playground have a scaled down version of a digger where they're like moving left and digging up. And I was like, oh no, it's probably just a thing that grabs. There's a little hand that grabs. But it was like litter picker, like a little.
Yeah, I never thought that would be called something different.
I don't even know if
pick
it
litter
necessarily.
with
It
it.
probably is, right? I don't think I've heard it called a litter picker day to day.
I don't know what else I would call it, except that we
I think
literally
it's just
called
called a
it
grabber.
a gribbly
A
grabble.
little grabber. It's just a grabber.
A gribbly grabber. I don't. Yeah. I'm sure it's got a name. It may well be litter picker because
It
that
may well
feels
be litter
real.
picker.
Well, please write in.
But no, it was a lot of. Is there part of this room, like we've talked a lot about these things that you've designed and things that you like? Is there something in this room that you're like is your favorite part of it that you're most proud of? That you're like that's
Oh, the end one, of course. The Steam or the name. It's so
fair enough. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Makes
It's like-
perfect sense.
Because I wanted it to be a name, and it's like, oh, I don't know what to pick because anything is gonna sound like if you just take a random name, it's gonna
Yeah.
sound silly backwards. It's like it needs to be something, and I was like, I have no idea. So I ran out of ideas, and I was like, you know what? This one is the silliest of all.
You got some Z sounds in it, so it made it appropriately demonic.
I say is
Yeah.
the best. That was great fun. So you've run this for a couple times for people. You've has it evolved much as you've been writing it and running it? Like
Oh yes, a lot of like little bits and pieces. Because I think I've friends and families and even like strangers have done it over Zoom, and I've changed it a little bit. Like up until now, I had a big list of things I needed to change. Like just simple things like the cooker puzzle. I hadn't put it as 4 and 3 or whatever it is, 3 and 4. I put it as a different way, and it took them ages to like. It will make more sense if the corresponded and stuff like that. And
sure.
I had loads of colors. Like the children was like a pink hat or a red gloves. So I was like, I have colors everywhere.
Ah.
I need to definitely change that.
And that's
good.
That's one of those classic things that people fall into, of like using the same thing a few times, and then as soon as you put it in front of a player, and they go, "Colors on the hat, colors on the fridge, pin the hat to the fridge, the
fridge
pictures
is
must go
coloured,
on there."
yeah.
You know, they freak out about it. Yeah, that's great.
So I changed a few of them things, and also the text message was just random letters I took it out. And then the other day I was like, you know what? It would be more funny if the letters that I took out actually spelled out. I was like, again, what word shall I use? I was like, no, this is gonna be another silly pun.
yeah, it's just got to be
silly
ridiculous.
Oh,
So yeah, let's a little bit.
I started out frowning at that one because I went Noia. Oh no, that's not a word.
Noia.
It took me shockingly long time to separate that no and that I. And then I started getting the word definitely. I went, you can't make the word definitely out of missing letters. It's too long. That could never happen. There's no reason that could never happen.
Yeah, it was a long
It's
message.
just such a long word. It felt unbelievable.
Yeah, but every single person forgot to ask for that to see the text message as well.
Yeah,
That
now
don't
I
feel
didn't.
bad.
I did not forget about it. We just kept
Sure.
making progress. So I just kept. I really did. I went. If we get stuck, I'll worry about it.
But I love that because like
But
that
it's
is
true.
It's like a classic search thing. Like in audio,
Totally.
right? We talked about this a lot. It's like in a real escape room, there's always the wait. I never looked in this hidden corner. I found the clue finally. You know. And in audio, that's hard to get because you sort of reveal everything. So that of just these little hints at, oh, and you don't need to have your phone with the phone. It's in your pocket. Don't worry about it. And just like it's up to us to show our like, you know, as a player to have skill in a game by thinking like, what could we search for that we haven't searched? And in this case, it was like, let's remember back to everything that was available. So like that is lovely. Like thinking to look at that is as much of a puzzle as the puzzle that's on the phone. And I think that's a good part of an escape room. I think it's a really nice thing to have in these audio rooms. So it was great. There was no part of me that
sneaky,
felt
but
bad at the end. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
of course, the phone, I'm a fool, but in a good way. No, it was a really nice way to piece all that together. I think the structure of this is different from how we
mental.
would often do.
it's
a
absolutely
room.
crazy.
But like, I kind of like that sequencing ourselves in and doing like this, now this, now this, now this, and then like you've done a bunch. Now let's give you a couple rooms, and I liked that difference in because I think it's so different from how Danny would usually build the room from the base
I
up.
felt safe.
Yeah, it felt really nice, and it was kind of like, and I liked moving through in that sequence, but still having that early stuff be relevant. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't just
Yes.
ignored for later.
Yeah,
I
you're
started out
right.
easy. I thought those puzzles weren't too hard. Then you get in the house and you spend all your time. Because the first room I made was really much one clue leads to another clue, who leads
Yeah.
to another clue, who leads to another clue. And I was like, I wonder what it's like if you have lots of options. You decide where you want to go, or you have like at the beginning you have like once you get in the house you have like 3 things to solve at once. You can do the steam one, you can do the fireplace, and you can ask for the text message.
That's
So
Yeah, and it was
wild.
a
Think
really
about
nice feeling. But starting with that linear sort of like do this puzzle, and then giving us open space means we're not so overwhelmed by that point.
I
It felt
really
quite
at
nice.
no point felt overwhelmed, even though there was a lot going on.
I've got like 3 pages of notes.
I managed
but
to fit
I'm
it
not
on one. I'll send you a photo of my notes because how I managed to fit it on one, I'm not sure.
Oh, you were taking a photo of your notes. Danny was just holding her phone, and I didn't realize you were taking a photo. I thought you were just holding your phone like horizontally and like glancing down the phone. I was like, what weird puzzle have you got on your phone of like, look at these words? What
I thought you were
writing?
taking a photo.
I don't trust you to take photos.
So yeah, there was an awful lot going on, and yeah, there were several places that we could run around, and lots of things to look at once. But no, I didn't feel overwhelmed at any point. It felt, it felt remarkably manageable for such a long room.
And there was a nice
It is
amount of
quite
like
long.
trust as well. Like when you've done the first few puzzles and they've made sense, and we're all kind of like,
Very
well, I get
true.
your wavelength. Then we can trust the puzzles later on, so that when we find half a puzzle, we don't sit there going, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do?" We're just like, "Great, bank that. We're going to find the rest of this later."
You did
Let's
manage
move on."
to create a lot of trust
and,
early on.
and that makes such a difference when you're playing these rooms. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I know what I can happily expect there to be more of this. And the only occasions where that wasn't fully true because we needed to look more, you were very nice to be like, no, you like maybe you can spend more time with this. And we're like, all right, let's look and try and solve it. And that's a nice sort of nudge from a game master. Just the nudge of not how to solve it, just like, hey, this is possible right now. It's like, really? Possible? Let me have a look.
Yeah, good
Because it's no
nudging
fun to
skills.
be struggling with something, you don't have half the puzzle.
Exactly.
It's no
Yeah.
fun.
So
That's what I like about this kind of setup is that the game master could say no or continue. It's
Yeah,
fine.
and I think you did very well at that as we played through. Like you led us the exact right amount, so it never really felt like we were getting any help. It was just I'm making this the most enjoyable.
No, you
experience.
edited it out.
Yeah, so much help. We didn't solve a thing. I don't even know what a color is. I've never even heard of a leopard.
It was very fortunate because we do say this when we have guest GMs on. It can take a bit of time for us to get on each other's wavelength and know what we're in for, what someone's style is. This, very fortunately, I feel like we got on the same page super fast.
That's good. Because, it is. It's just my second one, so I'm very new to this whole concept. And I had so much fun. Am I allowed to talk about other rooms I've made?
Oh, yeah.
No,
other
of course,
games?
please go ahead.
Okay. Because I don't have anything to sell. But I would like I'm in the future, I would love to have. I don't. It's probably isn't even a job, but like to run rooms for people, and I'm trying to build up like a catalog of things, but because I work full time and I have 3 kids, and all of it takes a long time. This room alone took like 3 months to do.
Yeah.
I was
Nice.
writing it in my head when I was driving, like in the commute and stuff, and then
Aw.
because that's how I do it. I write it out first in my head, or think of it. Then I sit down and I have loads of sheets of paper, and I use like mind mapping it all to
Oh,
see
that's
this
beautiful.
goes to this goes to this, and then the last thing I do is actually write it down on the computer, just to write it up.
And did you say earlier, probably off air, you go puzzles first?
Yeah, I don't come up with this. I have the loose story, and then I kind of, because I love puzzles, because making puzzles on itself, I find it's a puzzle, because you're like, okay, I need a 3-letter code, and I have a pair of cartons and a shoe. How can I make that into a code? And it's your reverse puzzling is just as hard as solving a puzzle, I find, and that's the challenge. Which I don't think I'm good at solving puzzles, but I'm good at making them from very little, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's cool. We would make a good pair because I totally get what you mean, but I always leave that step till last. And I go, the 8 pieces of thread, a picture, and a shoe. Let's just write the word puzzle there and come back to it later.
Yeah, I'm not a writer at all. I haven't got any. This is a real challenge. So that's why there's so many plot holes. Like I knew about, you could just grab a stick from the forest.
No, that's
get the
exactly
thing down.
No, that's how these things go. That's why they're game master controlled. It's inevitable. That's what call the police would be the solution in too many situations.
Exactly. That was my cousin, which is like, I am not going in there. I'm calling the police. I was like, sorry, your phone doesn't work, and you can't.
But I think that's part of it. Like it's the same true in a real escape room, right? You can always. It's like they tell you before you go in. There's a big button that opens the door and lets you out. Like that doesn't mean that's the
Technically,
solution.
that's the fastest
You're
way
always
out.
allowed to. You know, you can always turn around and not do the room. It's like that's fine. You know, just don't, please. Why don't you play in my space?
But there is a
Spent
lot.
3 months on this.
Yeah, but there is a lot of fun in being a puzzle solver once you have that initial trust with a person of it's not about like solving their puzzles, breaking their puzzles in the way. It's like it's sharing an experience with the person who made a puzzle by by aligning your thoughts. It's a
bit of fun and demon hunting.
It's a fun bonding experience, basically.
Yeah. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Is this what people mean, like when they cook and they say they love to like show their love through cooking?
Yeah.
Oh
Danny.
my god!
You just cook up puzzles.
I know. I trap people in an imaginary room.
I get it
It's
now.
great. Because also the other rooms I've done, after I did that one, I was like, okay, what can I do next? And it's completely different. It's more of a sci-fi theme. It's called Room 1. And I thought, how many escape rooms can I do inside one escape room? Turns out it's 18. You have 18 rooms.
And Jen McTagg, you've got competition.
Yeah.
Actually, I was listening to a bit of, what's it called? The one you did?
Chronomaly?
Yes. In the last one, you have a room that's very much like that.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you did like a sequence of... Yeah.
And I wrote this first, I promise. No, that one I didn't steal.
You can
steal
it.
anything.
But it's quite a tricky one because you have 18 rooms and you find... Basically, I don't want to say too much, but you're in a dream, basically. And every night you have this dream and you want to escape and you have to come to room 1 and you're just opening doors. And there's something in every room, different scenes, different things.
Cool.
and you have to go back to different rooms to see what you can collect, and you'll find things, and you have
I
that
love
you can
it.
solve it
Yeah.
with to
And
make
yet
your way
again-
through down the line. So you start with like a room 1000 or whatever.
Oh my
So
god.
So that one is quite fun.
That's
I
amazing.
also made one which is my working title is Scooby Dooby. Don't say that because of copyright issues. So it's a gang of friends of undetermined age that has got a call about a poltergeist in a museum,
Nice.
and you have to go there and spend the night. So that one was really fun, and that one, 'cause now it's been nearly 2 years since I started. I think that one is a lot better. There's, it's a bit more fun. It's a quite tricky one because you split up and stuff. It's really fun.
I can't wait. I hope you put those out into the world.
Yeah. I also got one where you solve your own murder or would-be murder.
Nice.
You have party and your guests are coming, and you get a little message saying one of these guests are gonna murder you in tonight in one of these room and one of these items, and you have to stop them before it happens. Because as I
Love
say, I
it.
don't do murder. I'm not ready for that. And what else have I done? Oh, my Christmas one. It's getting very complicated because now I'm gonna do. I bought props and everything. I'm filming myself. It's a noir kind of detective. You're solving, the crime of like Santa's been kidnapped, and I'm having this whole thing, and I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, that's
Man,
fantastic.
good on
And
you.
so like loads of things.
So you said before, like, is your plan like to be able to run these for people? Would you be
For the
interested in
It
public?
just
would be
like?
so fun, but I can't see how that's like possible.
Yeah, I mean, look.
If anyone got any ideas, please.
Look, we'll chat a little bit after the end of this thing, because there's definitely some stuff you could do, and if if at any point that becomes some form of reality, let us know, and we can help spread the word
So
of it.
fun. It's like I even think I don't even know a name I would call myself. So I thought, okay, I could have escape with a K and like an actual letter K, and then my name is obviously begins with K. But then I googled that, and that's an acronym for antibiotic resistant virus or bacteria. So yeah, it didn't sound that nice.
That's not that helpful.
No, but I
yeah.
don't have anything. It's like just a dream. Just
Yeah.
a dream.
Well, look, hopefully it all comes together one day, and some people will be calling you up, and
You've got your voice out
playing
in the
your
right
rooms.
space for
exactly. Yeah, if people are interested, I'm sure we can help. Well, look, thank you so much for coming and running that room for us. It was a joy to play. It was a lot of fun. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And Danny, thank you for playing along with me. I think
Thank
you absolutely. I know sometimes you're worried about whether or not you perform well in these. You did great. You kept track of everything. You knew what was going on. You solved a bunch of puzzles.
I definitely felt like my brain was more switched on for this one than for the
Yeah,
last one recorded.
Fantastic. Turns out you should record at night rather than in the morning.
I think so. Shakara.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody at home, for listening. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Escape This Podcast and the post show. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help support the show, just tell people, spread the word. It's always
Spread the world.
spread the world. Spread the word around the world. Tell everybody in the world about this show. Look, it's still the best way to help spread the show is to tell someone about it. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell anybody in your life. It's the most helpful way to get people to listen. You can also support us on Patreon. We don't run any ads. The way that we support this show and our lives and how and everything that we make is through Patreon. So if you sign up there at any level, you can appear as an NPC in one of the rooms that Danny writes, which probably coming up next episode, I would say.
Hey.
But also there's a huge library of bonus audio. We've been releasing basically weekly bonus audio for like 5 years.
wow.
There's so much. If you sign up for $5, you get access to all of it straight away, including all the new stuff that's coming out every week of playtest audio, cryptic crosswords.
Yeah, put it this way. If you want to go, I'll just pay $5 and then I'll listen to it all and then I'll unsubscribe, you won't have time.
Yeah, if you want to try and subscribe
won't
just for the
get
time it
through it
takes you
all
to
in a month.
binge all the audio, you'll still be subscribed for a year. You fools. But also feel free to do that. But and there's extra stuff for the $10 donors. There's video content that we've been making, us reviewing escape rooms in media and all that for the $10 donors. $20 donors is a fun trivia tier where you get a monthly trivia and you can look through and answer questions and it's great. And there's a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So there's like a choose your own adventure that you were writing for a long time. Did you ever finish that? Did that
No.
get quite finished? Well, you should
Be
come back and
quiet.
finish that this year. Lots of fun stuff for our donors. So thank you for supporting us there. Thank you one more time, Kajsa, for coming
Thank
on
you
and
so
running
much,
that for
Kajsa.
us. And
thank you. I was beyond thrilled to be here.
wonderful. All right. Thanks, everybody.